Hey, so Nick, the one thing that really kind of irks me is the fact that in this day and age, after all the failures that the Dems have had with Hillary, with Kamala, with running a moderate, how is it still a conversation on the left that should we be picking a moderate or should we be picking a progressive for 2028? So I seen this thing recently on Breaking Points, and there they referenced the New York Times article, and so they have this little focus group, right? 13 people ranging from ages 29 to 72, all of them Democrats. And the simple question, would you like a candidate who identifies as a progressive or a candidate who identifies as a moderate? Not a single one raised their hand for a moderate candidate. Not one.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting takeaway from this focus group. I guess my concerns about this, it says a candidate who identifies as a progressive or a moderate rather than, do you want progressive or moderate policies? And so it's interesting. Like, I think some people would view like Jasmine Crockett, right, as a progressive. I don't think that she's a progressive. I think she's a firebrand and she like attacks Trump, but her politics are pretty moderate. So, I just don't know if people know enough to be able to accurately, accurately determine what type of politician they want.
So
That makes sense.
I think this just might be a reaction, just thinking like we just need the exact opposite of what's happening right now.
Could be, yeah.
Right. So if we're going into fascism, we need to go into progressivism. Right. And we need to, just pull the pendulum back as strong as we can. But I think when you actually break down the issues of what it is to be a progressive or progressive policies, I think they all poll extremely well. It just depends on how you word it, right? Like if you word, do you want the government to be in charge of your health care? It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough to get, break over 50%,
Yeah.
right? But if you word it, would you rather a single payer system and guarantee healthcare for all, right? You're going to be at 60, 70%. It all depends on how you word it. And most progressive policies poll extremely well as long as we're being honest actors in how we're framing it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like if you were to say, let's increase the taxes on billionaires or the wealthy, I think that would poll really well. Like you mentioned, single payer healthcare, I think would poll really well. You know what also polls pretty well is like gun restrictions. And
Right.
that shit is never happened or it just hasn't happened, right? Like real gun reform just hasn't happened because what the Republicans do is they start playing defense and then they go on the attack and they label all the Democrats' thoughts around these type of policies as woke and extreme and all this
Right.
crazy stuff. And
But I would even like on immigration, I would imagine that if the question is asked, do you think people without a criminal background who's been here for X amount of years and contributing to society how they could should have an easy pathway to citizenship? I think 80%, that's a 70-80% issue, right? Or maybe I'm living pie in the sky, but I think that's a majority issue. That's a clear majority issue.
well, now it is, right? Because
Right.
they saw how destructive Trump's policies have been to the immigrant community. So now I
Couldn't
think a
read the
lot of
tea leaves.
well, right. I mean, everyone was saying how crazy his immigration policies are, but now people are like, oh, wow, this really sucks.
Right.
I don't want these people being deported. They're, successful members of the community.
Right. Or even contributing members, decent members, safe members of the community, right?
Yeah.
Like just
All of the above. Right.
right. But listen, man, again, I always say we're really good at snatching defeat out of the jaws of victory. Because what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Why is
Yeah.
Kamala, why is Kamala leading when she hasn't done dick since the election? She hasn't said anything. She might have done a single interview, fluff piece. She
Well,
hasn't said
She
anything.
put out a book, that they all do. So that's important.
Was it a bestseller?
I don't even know.
It was
She did. I
probably
know
a
she did
bestseller.
She did a few book tours and everything like that. And then there was some finger pointing, which she deserved to finger point. And she finger pointed at Biden. She got into that little tiff with Shapiro down there. I think, wasn't there something about Buttigieg and
Yeah,
his
I mean, but like
sexuality?
this whole list is just disappointment. This whole and
Yeah.
like AOC, I like AOC. I like AOC. But I'll be honest, right? If we're just going to be looking at the electorate, where we are as a country, just because I'm willing to vote for a woman doesn't mean a lot of people in this country are. It's just a fucked up reality of the situation, right? We've been shown that twice now, right? And I want to be an honest actor. When she was out there discussing foreign policy, she didn't inspire much confidence. I wouldn't say it was a complete fail and a complete flub, but it wasn't great. Let's be honest here. It wasn't great. And just because Trump set the bar in hell doesn't mean I want our next president to not be able to talk about foreign policy eloquently, knowledgeably, and with confidence that inspires confidence to everybody else. And she didn't do that. So this list
Yeah,
is fucking garbage.
her strength, AOC's strength, is domestic issues, right? And
Correct.
that's why she should run for the Senate, before trying to run for POTUS.
Right.
But I do think with this list, the Democratic base can start putting pressure on some of these guys. Like Gavin Newsom, I saw recently came out and said he's not going to take APAC money. So he is already seeing where the base is going, and
Yeah,
he
that
wants
guy,
to.
he's slimy. I'll do
That's
this.
true.
I'll do this and vote for him. I will if I have to. But the dude's slimy because just a couple of weeks ago, I was just watching Medi with the I've Had It podcast, the main one, right? And she, the clip comes up when she had him on and they were reacting to when he was talking about APAC money. And he was like, well, that's a funny question. Why are you asking about that? No, it's just strange. It's just strange. Trying to imply anti-Semitism. And it's like, shut up, dude. Shut up. It's a valid question from the left. It's a valid question from the right. It's just a valid question now.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess he got enough, I don't know, pushback or just enough people in his ear where he said he's not going to take any APAC monies. Like, one concerning thing about Newsom, is his ties with Silicon Valley, with tech billionaires and all that stuff. So,
Right.
yeah, it's not a great list.
It's not a great list. It's not a
It's not.
great list. And the one hope, and again, I'm not Ro Khanna, maybe. But again, is the electorate by and large ready to elect a man with a name like Ro Khanna that looks like Ro Khanna? Are we at this point, right? Like, yeah, we elected Barack Obama. I get that. But at this point in time, are we ready for that? Again, I'll vote for him. I'll be very happy to
I
vote
would
for him. I'll
I
be
would vote
very
for him
happy
too.
I'll campaign for him. I'll spread the word. I'll look into his policies, the ones that I agree with. I'll go ahead and I'll amplify them the best of my ability, right? But is everybody else going to vote for him? But one thing that I do know, and this is the one thing that really bothers me, is whenever they're talking about on the general, they're always talking about catering to the people in the middle. And that bothers me because I want to say, right, this might just be vibes, that there's more people on the far left that feel apathetic to voting for a centrist or a moderate than there'll be people in the middle, center to left, center left, or even slightly right of center, that won't vote for somebody that holds true progressive policies than the other way around. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I mean, like Kamala, obviously, she brought in Liz Cheney. She brought in a lot of never Trump Republicans to try to grab that moderate,
Right. And she
independent vote.
alienated people. She alienated people, not even on the far left, just solid on the left.
Yeah, and it didn't work. But then also, though, you look at people like Alyssa Slotkin and Mikey Sherrill, right, where they're probably more moderate, and they dominated in New Jersey and Virginia governor races, right? So it's not, to me, it's just not a one size fits all. I think it's going to
Yeah,
take
but
a talented politician in 2028.
those are states that already lean further left. And when we're talking about a general election, we're always talking about 4 or 5 states with a
Hmm.
margin of 1 or 2 points. Right. And so for those people, listen, my biggest piece of evidence for this is in the 2016, when the 2016 primary on the Dem side, Bernie was outpolling Hillary in Michigan and Ohio and in Texas and Arizona. He was outpolling her in every single swing state, especially in Pennsylvania in the Rust Belt, outpolling her every single place in the Rust Belt. But what happened is Hillary kicked his ass in South Carolina, even though we'll never fucking win South Carolina. And that was that. It
Well,
doesn't make sense.
Well, if you're looking, I guess, at the swing states, then you have a pretty popular swing state governor on that list, right? With someone I wouldn't be necessarily a fan
Shapiro.
of in Shapiro, right?
Right.
And I just don't, I think he's too moderate for my taste. And I don't think he would do what needs to be done.
But like I said, at the end of the day, people truly agree with progressive policies. So I would be prone to think that people in the middle, when they hear populist progressive policies being pushed, those people in the center are going to be very, very likely to go ahead and vote for a populist policy instead of more of what we're going, instead of a JD Vance or whoever the hell they throw out there in 2028 to say, hey, we're going to keep this thing going.
the person that I'm going to vote for in the primary is anyone that promises, or the first person that promises investigations into the Trump administration. That
That's
person
your
will
red
have my
line.
that's my red line. That's the first thing I want to hear is that we are going to investigate the Trump administration.
I
My
hear you.
DOJ will do that. So especially Don Eric Trump.
Right,
That's
right.
my red line.
And they like they said, man, in that crazy interview, they're at the top of the Ponzi scheme.
Right.
If that's not a self-admission, I don't know what the fuck is.
Mm.
But anyways, guys, listen, hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. You get a chance, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the bell icon to get notified when we drop a new episode, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.
Peace.